Good evening, everyone. This is Philosophy Club Radio Hour. I have Professor Manzi,
Boo.
Yara, and
Hi.
Professor Scoggins.
Eat that mic.
You guys want to have a minute of self-introduction?
Yes.
Sure, Haya.
Let's start from the far corner.
That's me. Hi. I was on the first podcast or broadcast?
Broadcast.
The podcast.
Yeah, ever, because obviously I invented it. And now at the end, I'm back again. So hi.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you. Oh, this is Yara, by the way.
My name is Professor Manzi. You could say that the hosting duties have been hijacked by a student of mine who's
Did you ask her to do this just so you can make that pun?
That's it. We can switch now. Let's
I
switch.
feel like that's
Musical
what it
chairs.
was.
You served your purpose. You can get out the chair now.
All right, y'all. Happy to be here.
Wow.
Who else? Who else we got?
And my name is Kalen Scoggins. I'm an adjunct faculty in the government department here at Richland and a fairly regular, I suppose, guest on the show this semester, and happy to be back.
All right. Lastly, I'm Hayakazi. I am the temporary host for Philosophy Club Radio Hour.
New
And-
full-time host.
No, please.
SGA president,
Spirit, yes. Student government president.
Philosophy Club communications officer,
Yes. Also future dictator of the world.
solid C student in my honors intro class.
Honors. Honors. You just defeated your purpose. Anyways, moving on. We're going to talk about the art gallery that happened. What is it called again?
So it's essentially just called the Art and Philosophy Collaboration event, but we've been referring to it as Existentialist Art.
Okay, we had an existentialist art gallery that we showed on this Tuesday.
Yeah, just a few days ago.
Just a few days ago, and I think it was amazing. All those art students were supposed to make a art based on a quote from Nietzsche,
Yes.
aphorisms from Nietzsche, and some of which were really nice. I'd like to ask everyone to tell me their favorites, and if you can, say their maybe their quotes itself, or at least the feeling you found behind it.
Some of which were really nice.
Yeah, let's talk about the ones we like the least.
Right.
No, I love them all. I honestly love them all.
Yeah,
They were
but
all
the
pretty
ones
good.
that really
Yeah.
hit you the most.
Right.
Mm. Okay, well, yeah, I guess we could start with our host, S.
Oh, okay. I had one. I think it was a kind of a ballad or a poem from Nietzsche, and I thought it was very beautiful. I'd like to recite it.
One of Nietzsche's ballads, yes, please.
Okay, so the art itself was of a meteor hurtling through space, and in front of it was a cage which had no glass and a little white butterfly inside it.
Oh, yeah, that was a great one.
Okay, so the ballad is: call the stars all but to pursue. What is the darkness, star, to you? Roll on in bliss, traverse this age. Its misery far from you and strange. Let farthest world your light secure. Piteous sin you must abjure. But one command is yours: be pure.
Yeah, and you're not really that far off on calling it a ballad. That's taken from a work called The Gay Science, a prelude in songs and an appendix of rhymes. Or maybe it's appendix of rhymes and prelude of songs, one or the other. At any rate, that comes from that. It's supposed to be a song. It's supposed to be something that you sing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's fair.
I think the meaning behind this poem was that the star, or the meteor, I think it was a meteor, was hurtling to space, and Nietzsche is asking him, the star, that what do you think of darkness? Isn't it strange? But you who are so bright and brilliant are hurtling and leaving it behind. So you shouldn't worry about that anymore. You should just stay who you are, and don't pity yourself. Don't let other pity you, and be pure.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And just to make a brief introduction about just what the whole collaborative event is. And if you go back to season 3, we have an episode called Art and Nietzsche, and where we kind of covered this thing last time. It's something we want to do every semester. So just so we know, art students, Richland Thunder Duck students, that require no introduction. I'm gonna continue to make that pun. They are given at the beginning of the semester a list of aphorisms, and we tweak it slightly every semester. I made some additions this semester that are mostly from the rhymes and the songs. they are not given any additional information other than the list of aphorisms, and they have to pick the one that speaks to them. And then just based upon that, they derive some sense of, I guess, I don't want to call it a picture in their mind, but it speaks to them in a way where they transform that message into art. And art that is very individual or particular to their unique interpretation of the aphorism. So what you have are student artists who are kind of given this raw philosophical statement, and you know, a lot of which requires interpretation. It's not very clear, it's not very direct, which is appropriate for art. So through various mediums, painting, drawing, and what have you. Embroidery, thank you for that. I forgot it last season too on the episode. Embroidery, you get to see students interact with philosophy, with a major philosopher or anti-philosopher, depending on how you think of it. So it is a very unique opportunity. We're the only campus in the district that does this kind of thing, and it's probably my favorite thing of the semester. I get to meet art students or reacquaint myself with them, and I believe the one that you selected, he participated last semester as well. His name escapes me, but just clearly a talented guy.
We're out of time. Thanks for tuning in.
Anyways, so tell me more about why you like the artwork.
I thought it was...
Because it was a literal interpretation.
Was his name Henry or Peter?
Not really.
One of the two. I think it was Peter.
I can't remember.
Wait, no. I think I have the wrong painting. Was it the one in the far left corner?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he was Peter.
Oh, it's
Okay.
Peter. Because he spoke on it. He actually read something from his artist statement, I believe.
I think I love drawing space. It's one of the things I love doing with watercolors. It's
Really?
very
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll show you one, but
That's okay.
It's free flowing and it's beautiful. Right. So when I think of drawing it, I think that I don't need to hold on to a specific image. I can just blot out the wild thing I want to show. But even in that, I can tell he didn't just use water paint. He used a lot of mediums that I recognize. And
A lot of larges, a lot of smalls,
yes.
a lot of mediums.
Yes. but you could tell that he wasn't going
Kaylin, stop laughing.
specific image. But at the end of the day, what he came out with the project was more than what I can say he imagined. Right.
Interesting.
It was. You could tell it was full of things that he didn't plan for, that he didn't like, but it was there and it was wholesome. I like that about it.
Yeah, I think so.
The end product was more beautiful than the image in mind.
I see what you're saying. And yeah, I think that's right. I think he alluded to as much when he spoke on his piece as well. Just in general, too, before I forget, what did you think of the turnout? What did you think of the whole event? Because we've never hosted it in the Brazos Gallery before.
I thought it was amazing.
I thought it was unbelievable.
Even with, I went to the gallery before the event just to check it out because
Oh,
Brian invited me to check his painting out.
Oh, yes, Brian Miranda.
The famous, he's pretty infamous, I would say. I'd say famous.
Philosophy Club regular fell off a little this semester, but I think he was on an earlier episode this season.
Yeah, he's our local cynist.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But
Cynicist and sinner?
Oh.
No. Anyways, moving on. I think I spoke enough. I want others' opinion.
So me or Kaylin?
I'll go with you, Yara.
Oh, what a pleasure. Okay, let's talk about.
Sarcasm is running wild in the studio.
Let's just not forget I'm the host here.
I'm trying to remember my favorites, but my memory is failing as usual. So.
Well, I think we have the list of aphorisms because there are quite a few to pick from. Do you want to run it over to me? Thanks. Because that will jog the memory, because some aphorisms were far more popular than others. Thank you.
Mhm.
I think number 4 got a lot of headway, which
Yeah.
I
was...
think number 4 and number
Close
11 I
sources.
saw a lot of.
Number
Yeah.
4 was the one with "To live is to suffer," right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to live
that,
to suffer.
that was famous, or at least popular.
Very popular. Well, do
Not
you remember
my
any of the
favorite.
paintings that you
Well,
were... Yeah.
two of my favorites were I don't know what it's called. The
I-
little circly thing with the
Embroidery
tails.
hoops.
The one that Peter made. Yeah, we already talked about it. And then another one of my favorites was the one in outer space with the meteor and the cage, the open cage.
Oh, yeah.
But we also talked about it. A third of my favorites was one of the embroideries, which had like a yellow sun-ish sort of thing with the lips singing, the music flowing from the back. It was like yellow.
I don't remember that one.
You should.
Oh wait, I do remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and the girl who made it talked about it, and I
Yeah.
found it really just like pretty and unusually pretty, I think. Like it combines stuff that I haven't seen together. Not like haven't seen together before. It was just like an unexpected sort of product, and I really liked it.
It stood out because of the yellow, I think.
I
too.
think so. Yeah.
You know, interesting choice.
And I was kind of like unsure of like why there were lips in the sun, and then as she explained that it was like music and it made her happy and whatnot, it like made sense.
Yeah, and something I've noticed, and this is by no means a way to kind of insult any of the artists, because again, I'm blown away by their talent. It's interesting that some artists, they'll produce beautiful, magnificent pieces, but they don't quite know how to articulate the sort of process. Or sometimes they have a hard time knowing how or why they made certain choices because it's so instinctive. Because it's something that, again, that's the aesthetic process, is that you make these choices that aren't necessarily well thought out. But, again, it's like a gut feeling, maybe. I say this never, ever having produced anything remotely artistic in my life. But that's my general understanding of it.
Wouldn't philosophy be art?
I thought you said or philosophical. I think so, yeah.
So how would this tie in with one of the earlier club discussions about the relationship of thought to language and kind of articulating thoughts, right? If you
Interesting.
only have gut feelings when you're making art, does that mean the art is thoughtless? That no thought went into the production of the art if you can't articulate it?
How dare you call these artists thoughtless?
How dare
Carla?
you call these artists?
No, you dare didn't.
I like that one, girl.
We're studying Derrida in class.
No, I was trying to just ask and bring it into relationship with the previous discussion topic.
I know, I'm just teasing. No, that was a good. I think that's an interesting point because, again, language is the kind of thing that I said is an inherent aspect of what it is to be a human being, and yet you find people who struggle to come up with the words for what they use or for what they have done and the materials they've used and how they crafted it in the way that they have. I think it gets at this idea of what they used to call muses or inspiration, where it's like it feels like something is working through you. It feels like you're the medium for the artistic message, which you then render artistically through the medium of your choice.
I remembered another two of my favorites. I don't know why I'm whispering. Anyway, one of them was the glued friendship thing.
Glued friendship thing.
I'm not sure which of the aphorisms it was. It was like better a feud than a friendship glued or something.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. Where is it?
Okay, it's
Is it on this page?
yeah, here it is.
Better a wholehearted feud than a friendship that is glued. I thought the detail on that one was impeccable, and the fact that it was all in one color and it showed this much detail like blew me away, to be honest. So
Yeah, I think so. I agree with those sentiments. But let's pause on that message for a second.
Okay.
What do you think that means?
I think it means what we all know it means. It means if you're trying to maintain a friendship when both of you are like drifting apart, just let it drift apart. Like,
Do we agree with that? Or shouldn't you fight for your friendship?
well, I try, but like not all the time because sometimes it's just not worth it. So,
Okay, so
and
okay.
sometimes it's one-sided as well. So like, oh fuck that.
But what is this idea about a wholehearted feud? Better a wholehearted feud
Like a
than
genuine
friendship that is
feud.
glued.
I
Like-
think Nietzsche was always thought that friendships that weren't wholehearted were useless. So he'd rather have I remember what John told me this. He's like, the best type of friendship is the type that is a rivalry.
Yeah, and that's something that I actually had the opportunity to write on in grad school, as this idea of what is Nietzsche's definition of, not definition, but just idea of friendship. And it seems like his understanding of friendship, at least to me, is such that the best friend you could have is a rival, because they push you to again,
Becoming
go
better.
beyond your limits. Yeah, exactly. Whereas if you have friends that are just kind of yes men, yes women, they're kind of like, hey, we'll love you anyway, no matter what. How is that to your benefit? I think was Nietzsche's point, is that you're going to become complacent. And then if people don't just love you for who you are, then you're going to think they're bad friends. When in fact, if they really loved you, if they were really your friend, they would push you when you needed the pushing, even though that is uncomfortable or awkward. That's
Or
what
like
friends
your
do.
parents, basically. when they make you do stuff you don't want to do, and make you run for positions you don't want to run for, and then you're like, okay. No, my parents don't do that to me.
Oh, of course not.
So wait,
They don't
is a rival then someone who threatens to stop loving you if you don't do certain things?
I think a rival for Nietzsche is somebody who isn't interested in actually overtly expressing love for you per se. I think it's more a matter of respect. So if you have rivals, it means that you're worthy of respect. It means that you have talent or potential that other people are noticing. And if you begin to sort of, I guess, rival the rival's position, then you have a good old-fashioned wholehearted feud, perhaps.
I want to add some stuff. First thing is,
Anyway, I'm sorry.
I was thinking that wholehearted feud could be like just ending on. Please don't. Can we just ending on good terms? But now I kind of have a question that sort of like brought itself up, which is, do you think it's the initial situation is being friends and then the feud is drifting apart, or do you think the initial situation is being like strangers with a wholesome like acquaintance,
Oh, that's a good question.
and then like forcing a friendship?
Forcing a friendship. How would you force a friendship?
When one person's awkward and the other person isn't.
Or when both are awkward,
Huh.
but they still like try and sort of make something
imagine
happen.
there's someone who's an acquaintance of mine. We don't really share interests, but we had a a common occurrence between us that may have made us on talking basis. Now we don't really like each other, or we don't really share the same enjoyments.
Uche.
No. and then at
You
one
can say
point
Mancy's name. It's okay.
Yeah. and at one point I'm just pushing for their friendship, even though they don't really care for me.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. That's so sad.
I
Anyways,
don't have friends, so don't. It's fine.
you're back in the albatross nest.
Oh no! At least stop mentioning that. It was a mistake.
It's my
telling
favorite. It's
you.
my favorite story ever on this podcast. I think. So getting back to your point there, Yara, it's. I think the overall point Nietzsche's making here, and I think it's similar to what you're proposing, is that if you are in a wholehearted feud with somebody, a passionate argument, it means that you care about their opinion and you care about the topic that you're discussing, and they feel the same way. So you see eye to eye, you have the same values, you have the same passions. And that spills over, and that's invigorating, and that's also reassuring, because you know that other people care as much as I do about this stuff. That's I think originally, I'd like to hear your opinion on this, Kaylin. That's kind of what I think academic conferences are supposed to be, where you go there and you're supposed to meet people who challenge you, and if it gets a little passionate or awkward, that's a kind of a good thing in a way.
Right, and the way that you are impolite in those situations is by kind of concealing your disagreement for the sake of
Civility.
maintaining, civility or decorum or the appearance of a friendship or something. That's actually the way that you show someone you don't respect them, as you don't take them seriously, is by not being honest about your disagreement with them.
Yeah, I think so. How honest have you been with me, Kaylin?
Not at all.
On this show, not very.
Thank you. I'll take that faux honesty any day. I think
love faux.
I think Foucault. Anyways, I think you're right about that. And
French soup is good.
Stop, guys.
duck soup.
Stop.
I think.
Marx.
What is that Seinfeld thing? What is it? Huckleberry.
We are
Huckleberry
actually on a
cranberry.
show right now. Get
Cranberry?
back to the time.
Can we keep on
Anyways.
topic? Let's move
Hi,
on.
it's old people bonding, just
Peach.
like MB.
Old people bonding.
That's the title of this
Thank you,
episode.
Yara.
Don't title that episode. I think I think you're right about that. And then so getting back to this, I think conferences could be an opportunity if both people are honest, or however many people are involved in the discussion, to forge real bonds, not over incidental things like we grew up across the street from each other or something like that, or we happen to be in the same class, but freely of our own volition, we both chosen to come here right now and talk about this stuff and get heated about it. Respectfully heated. I think that's something along the lines of what Nietzsche has in mind. And so this idea of a friendship glued, I think it just means that if you have a passionate sort of rivalry-esque kind of debate here, or what are the terms again? 7? Oh yeah, a feud. Yeah, a feud. If nothing else, that'll push you again to becoming a better person. because you'll be more focused on what it is that you are passionate about, and it'll compel greater attention paid thereto. A friendship that is glued, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's kind of shattered maybe because of an argument or a squabble or a feud, and you kind of patch it back together, and now you have this weird thing where you don't want to irritate one another because then the friendship might absolutely disintegrate, but you also can't be authentic for that reason, and it's like now you're walking on eggshells with somebody who's your friend, and that's not worth it. That's not a real friendship. That's not even a worthwhile relationship.
Or rather, I think that the glued statement would be the type of having a friendship that you've held on for so long, you feel maybe in debt to each other. You know, a sense of loyalty that may at one point be misplaced. You know, you're friends with someone, and you might have to, you know, for better or for worse, help them out. Maybe get them a job at your workplace, and you know you don't want to because you know they're not suited for the position. But your friendship has led you to believe that you want them to be happy.
To be host, yeah.
You're assuming that I'm friends with you.
Well, you won't be after grades are turned in. Anyways.
Sorry. Anyways, but basically it's like holding onto a rope for so long that your hand starts burning, and you just have to let it go to feel better.
Yeah. Speaking of ropes, what'd you think of Brian's piece?
I knew you were going to say that.
I know. Before we ask, did we ask for six?
Oh, yeah. Kalen. I'm sorry.
For his favorite piece?
Did you have a favorite piece?
I think I had a favorite set of pieces all around the same aphorism.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I really liked the different interpretations of number 11 this semester, which is the, if I remember right, it's like God has his hell too, it is his love of mankind.
Can you please not curse on the radio?
That one last year was really good.
Yeah. I thought this semester the contrasts were especially interesting. I think there are actually two of them right next to each other on one piece of the wall, one of which was a very kind of evocative piece of imagery of like hands reaching down from the heavens into this kind of more earthly realm, and the hands are all different colors, and it's drawn in such a way to kind of have a very ethereal feel to it. Yeah, it was really interesting. And the one next to it on the same aphorism was like a Jackson Pollock, type of splattering, but with some kind of form, or two forms actually, kind of vaguely embedded within all of the splattering that were different colors that were kind of postured to be relating to each other in some way, but it wasn't quite clear. Yeah. And so I really enjoyed how they both were approaching this aphorism from clearly very different perspectives, both in terms of just cognitive interpretation, but also artistic expression was very, very different. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think that's well put, and I totally agree. I think in a nutshell that encapsulates what the purpose of the whole exhibition is to see how different interpretations of something that is, again, potentially provocative, but how it hits different people for different reasons. The artist who did the yellow one, which was very striking, and in fact, I was talking to Charles, who he's the curator down there, or I should say up there. He said I intentionally wanted to put these two together against this green background because the colors pop even more, especially that yellow and black piece. Yeah, I think that's right. And so the artist spoke on it, and again, he kind of walked us through the process, and it was fascinating. But I wish he had said a little bit more about the interpretation itself that he was using, that he was going with. And I appreciate that he was very technical, because again, that piece, I believe he even said I was trying to go for something Jackson Pollock-esque. Yeah, just a great juxtaposition, I suppose.
You supposition.
What? Oh, please.
I think my favorite piece, and gosh, it's really tough, was the one with the two humanoid figures, intentionally, I think, gender ambiguous, and they were kind of opposite one another, yin and yang style, with the white hair and the black hair.
I don't remember.
But that was against a diamond, which was against the background of a rhombus, which was against the background of another shape, and it was kind of it reminded me of like almost a tarot card. But everything was so perfectly symmetrical and yet fluid and loose. I really appreciated that.
Can I point out two of my other favorites? I had like 5 favorites, so I don't know what I was doing there.
Sure,
but
please.
One of them was...
What are you doing, Haya? You're on camera.
I know.
I'm not sure who it was meant to be, but pretty sure it was Stalin because it looked like him, and his hair grew into horns.
Oh no, that was Nietzsche. That's Nietzsche.
Are you kidding? Okay.
Now that you put it
Wow,
around, Nietzsche and
historical
Stalin do
legend.
kind of look little. It's the mustache.
Yeah, it's definitely the mustache.
Yeah. And I don't know, with the horns and like history, I thought my assumption was fitting, but I guess not. And what else? The other one was the one with the girl where her eye was wiped out and there were infinite eyes looking at her.
Oh yeah, that one was.
Oh
really
yeah, that
good.
was.
That was
cool.
like,
at the front.
yeah, displayed kind of outside, towards the outside.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic. I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember what the aphorism was that had the sort of demonized Nietzsche with the devil horns and the red eyes. It was the only speck of color was his eyes being kind of red orange. I
I
remember.
think that was the one at the back. It was at morning
I have
and day.
pictures of them, so
I don't remember which number it is.
Yeah, it was something along the lines of oh, here it is. What if some day or night a demon were to steal into your loneliest loneliness and say to you, quote, "This life as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once again and innumerable times again." Yeah, oh yeah, let's put that towards the camera. Yeah, let me see, I'm close. But yeah, this idea, again, it's referencing Nietzsche's notion of the eternal recurrence of the same. Let me give you guys a quick look here at it. And I think when I finally upload something onto Facebook for the first time in 3 months, this might be the cover of the album of this set of pictures for the exhibition.
did you
because
say the Facebook?
the Facebook
Just let him
page, the
go.
philosophy Facebook page.
Okay.
I'm not that out of it. Yeah.
Ooh, quality.
Put your hand behind it.
So if I have Facebook, do I also have the internet?
I think we'll do it, folks. No.
Any last thoughts, guys? We have a few minutes before it ends.
Oh wow, that was a joke, but you're actually not joking. I should say this too, guys. It's the last day of classes for the academic year. It's
Talk about eternal recurrence of the same.
this is the end of the spring semester. We'll be back
Oh.
next semester for that was a great one
That
too.
was another fave. I don't know if they can.
Yeah, let me see that. I'm glad you brought those because my pictures, my phone is just such poor quality. Here.
I was gonna say like you, but that's mean.
But you said it anyway.
You know, Haya, that joke tells me you are ready for the hostess position. Because that's the kind of quips you need.
I mean, I said it anyways, but I said it
That's
was
the
mean, so
glued
I'm
friendship
agreeing that
one.
I'm mean.
Right, so you said it in a cowardly way. You wouldn't actually stand behind it.
True,
Hey, Haya, I dish it out towards you so much. I can take it.
true. You don't let me ask questions. You're like,
True.
You ask like, are there any questions? And then I raise my hand. You're like, anybody but Haya. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, this was a great one. Such a you can't.
that
Again,
one
this is
was-
not doing it justice,
You
but
can't really
such
see it in the
attention to
camera.
detail. Yeah.
There was so much. It
Yeah.
was like two faces that were splitting apart.
And then
you could
that's the meteor-ish. Sorry, did I interrupt?
s-
The meteor one?
Yeah. Let me see. Right. Yeah. This was. I love the color choices too.
Yeah.
Try
Again,
putting
it's
your hand behind it.
reminiscent of the solar system. What are you saying to me?
Try putting your hand behind the camera. Like no, like behind
You
the
felt so attacked.
Sorry, behind the phone. Like laid out. Like
What
on-
difference does it make?
It makes it focus.
Like with the brightness or whatever.
No, it makes it focus.
The contrast, I mean.
Oh well, whatever.
I don't want to drop your phone, Haya.
It's not my.
I was eating a big slice of anchovy pizza right before this. I'm all greasy.
Oh,
Ew.
that's another one.
Oh, that was a cool one too.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: do you guys think that? And I believe I posed this last semester too. Do you guys think that Nietzsche's aphorisms serve as good fodder or a good source of inspiration for art in this way?
Yes.
Why?
It's imagining taking one code and having these kids or having these people come up with their own idea behind it, right? It's like telling somebody to look at a piece of art and without any given name or given background and telling them, what do you feel about this? But the
Yeah.
opposite way, giving them a word and telling them, what do you feel about this? Put it in a painting.
Yeah, and from what I understand, they are free to do additional research if they wish, but
They don't have to.
yeah, they don't have to. And the general idea is that it's just how it hits them, because they first read all of these aphorisms and then they have to select. And I like that the art professors, and shout out to all the professors that made this happen.
Shout out to you.
Professor Manzi, but I had little to do with this, frankly. But really, Marianne Lefelt, who's the chair of the art department, Louisa Benton, as well as Emily LaCour, and I believe Kendra Wiggins, I think. So those are the main four. And then, of course, Charles Caldwell, who's the curator over there. And if I butchered anybody's name, I am very sorry. But yeah, it's kudos to everybody for really coming through, and especially the students for taking it so seriously. I mean, you saw some of the images that we flashed on the screen. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of dedication.
Brian took 3 months to come up with this meeting.
Yeah, and Brian's whole thing with the noose, because, he did, what was Brian's aphorism?
It was
To live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering.
Yep.
It's interesting that he chose to replicate the conditions for a possible suicide with the noose and what have you. If the aphorism is to survive is to find meaning in the suffering.
Well, it was placed in such a way that you have this kind of window to an outside world that's kind of bright and sunny and things like that. That seemed to have been kind of an intentional juxtaposition.
Oh,
I
okay.
was talking to Brian about it before the showing, and he was
what did he say?
He was saying that, I mean, he never lies about how he has suicidal thoughts, and he's very open about it, and he converses about it a lot. So he was telling me that he has no meaning. He doesn't have any meaning to life yet, right? And he has yet to find any. But it doesn't. He doesn't mean he's not actively looking for it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who writes plays and has his plays acted out, on campus
And he's
and
very
paints.
vocal about his thoughts.
He debates publicly. He's, big in philosophy club. Yeah.
An overall vibrant personality.
Yeah, very engaging guy. Very engaging guy.
Any final thoughts, everyone?
Well, I'll say this also. If you remember last semester, there was some, a little bit of, I wouldn't call it controversy, but people were like, is it okay to have, an aphorism or a painting that is suggestive of suicide hanging publicly in a gallery on campus? And
Yeah, I would say yes.
Why would you say yes?
Because for someone to take this type of idea, right, the idea of suicide, and putting it into a painting, you're exposing yourself to everyone else, right? You're leaving yourself vulnerable and bare for anybody to question your thoughts. But that doesn't mean you're being weak about it. I mean, everybody can see the hurtful truth and take their own meaning behind it. At some point, it's pretty helpful, and and one can derive courage behind it. I'd say it does more good than harm.
By hanging in a public gallery, would it not be somehow glorifying and promoting suicide?
Was that a pun?
No.
Hanging.
Shh, we don't do those type of puns here.
Well, the host has let me know.
New host, new rules.
Seriously.
But I would agree. There's some lately there's shows that would say promote the idea of suicide. At least they romanticize it. But this is more of thoughts behind it than making it romantic.
I think that's what it is. I think it's a good opportunity to consider something that deserves attention and discussion, and I think art is a fabulous way to approach these kinds of very personal, touchy, yet in a lot of ways universal ideas.
It's like saying your thoughts without ever having to come back and say it again, because people will just keep looking at that painting and go like, okay, yeah, I can hear the artist's thoughts.
Do you think it's possible to come to a greater understanding of an idea through working on it artistically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say yes. It's like the process I have when I paint. I have an image in mind, and I start putting it down on the paper. But it doesn't always turn out that way. And I always have some abstract idea I want to put on paper. Right. But
I hate philosophy class.
But it doesn't.
How can I represent this?
No. But it doesn't end up being the way I thought it was. But my ideas mature over time while I do the drawing. I hope you don't do that again. So,
Speaking of mature.
We're almost
It's my
out of
art,
time,
man.
guys.
All right, so we should probably do shout-outs and closing remarks.
Okay. I'm going to say the disclaimer first.
Disclaimer.
Oh, yeah, you're supposed to read that at the beginning. We have to start all over again.
No, views expressed on this show are my own unless otherwise stated. No, are Philosophy Club's own unless otherwise stated, and do not reflect the opinion of KWX, KDX Web Radio.
KDUX.
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 Oh boy, this is not going well.
Richland College or the D.
What?
D-triple-C.
You got to start that over. That was miserable.
All right, take two.
Take two. Our own.
Okay, guys, give me a break, right?
I'm gonna be 75 years old and wake up in the old folks' home, half delirious,
Let
and
me-
just say this out loud in my sleep.
Let me say it. Views
whole
expressed
disclaimer.
on this show are my own unless
Our
unless otherwise stated, and do not reflect the opinion of KDUX Web Radio, Richland College, or the D-triple-C-D.
Perfect. That was good. No, the last D stands for district.
I know.
D-triple-C-double-D. Dallas County Community College District.
Any closing announcements?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I want to thank everybody for a great semester. I think this has been the best season of the radio show yet.
Here, here.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Yeah, I'd like to thank especially the regulars who've been on here a lot. Haya, Kaylin, and now I guess that'll do it. And as well as, all the officers who couldn't make it. Again, it's the last week of classes. Today's the last day of classes. Most people are super busy trying to finish their assignments. Most professors are way behind on grading. And yet, we found some people to come in and do this.
But
and
instead of doing a radio show.
but instead yeah, exactly. What do we grade Haya for her hosting duties?
Wait, let me just finish it off, and then you can say it.
Okay, well, that's true.
Okay.
It's not over yet.
Right, you are listening to KDUX Web Radio, broadcast live from Richland College in Dallas, Texas.
We are the voice of Richland.
We are the voice of Richland College. That's it. That's
Views
all,
expressed in
folks.
this show
Let's go.
are our own unless otherwise stated.
We got both halves of the disclaimer in there, just not in the right order.
and
It's
do
all
not
good.
reflect the opinion of KDUX Web Radio, Richland College at DCCCD. Anyways,
Turn it off.
any other final? The Philosophy Club will meet one last time on Tuesday during finals week, and then we will record one last radio show and say goodbye to many of the officers that are leaving. If you'd like to be an officer in the Philosophy Club and you're returning next semester, please let us know. Haya, you will be returning as an officer, but I think everybody else is leaving.
Yes, everybody's leaving me behind.
Yeah, no, Uche is gone, John is gone, Julio's going to be gone.
Gabby's gone.
Yeah, Gabby's gone.
You didn't remember her name, did you?
Well, yeah, of course I did.
Okay.
I did.
Just making sure.
Yeah, I remembered Gabby. I don't think she watches this. Okay. Also, we didn't get a chance to announce this yet, but Killer Fundraiser. We held a tie-dye fundraiser, a collaborative fundraiser with the Pride at Richland College.
Killer fundraiser, tie
Killer-
dye.
Hey, I like it.
That's good.
Well,
I aspire to those
acceptable.
kinds of puns.
No, you aspire, but you can never become them.
I aspire, instead I perspire.
Ooh.
Actually, I inspire.
Too late.
Throw it on the
Yes, I
pyre.
transpire.
I want some pie. Pizza
Okay,
pyre.
Okay.
Pizza
That's
pyre.
it, guys. That's all.
No, guys, no, for real. I want to shout out all the officers, all the student officers in the park, in the Pride of Richland College club for helping us organize a great fundraiser. And I had so little to do with this. This was very much a student-generated effort, and I'm really proud of you guys. I'm especially proud of myself for letting you guys do your thing and trusting you guys. You proved me right. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
That's
I'll
all,
leave it at
folks. Thanks for everyone for coming.
And I
that
guess
will
I have to thank myself for doing stuff.
Thank you, Yara. Thank you for going.
Yara. Thank you, Professor Scoggins. Thank you, Professor Manzi.
Any sign off? Haya, what's your sign off?
Don't think about it.
What?